The Galactic Council was stunned as Earth's massive railguns tore through their fleet like cannons through toy ships, finally paying them back for underestimating humanity as an easy conquest. In a dim, smoke-filled bar on a remote space station, a grizzled old alien veteran named Tarek sat hunched over a glowing blue drink. Beside him, a wide-eyed young recruit named Rax gaped at flickering holo displays showing fierce human soldiers charging into battle. Rax's antenna twitched as he stared at images of human marines storming a Theron dreadnought. "I thought the rumors about humans were made up," Rax said. Tarek coughed out a harsh chuckle. "They're all true, kid. Every story. I fought them myself back in the day." Leaning in, Rax fixed Tarek with a pleading stare. How did a primitive species from a backwater world take on the Council? Everyone said it was impossible. Tarek sighed, dragging a clawed hand down his battle-scarred snout. "Because we were fools, arrogant, complacent fools. When the Council first discovered Earth, they thought it would be an easy conquest. March in, plant a few flags and add another trophy to their collection. But we underestimated humanity's most powerful weapon." "Their guns, their ships?" Rax asked. "No!" Tarek growled, his voice rough and low. "Their unbreakable spirit. Humans value freedom over everything. They'd rather die on their feet than serve on their knees. So when the Council threatened that freedom, trying to fold them into our galactic community," Tarek made air quotes, his tone dripping with sarcasm, "the humans told them to shove it, and that's when the real war began." Rax shivered, mandibles quivering as he absorbed Tarek's words. The old soldier was right. Humanity's refusal had cost the Council thousands of ships and millions of lives. He'd seen the casualty reports. If humans weren't stopped, the Council would crumble. But as Rax watched footage of human fighters chasing Zoran marauders through an asteroid field, he couldn't help but wonder. If humans could bloody the galaxy's nose so badly while outgunned and outnumbered, what would happen when Earth really went to war? "They flat out refused the Council. Are they insane? Nobody does that." Rax gaped at Tarek in disbelief. Tarek shook his head, taking another swig of his luminescent beverage. "Oh, they did. The Council was pissed as hell. The first thing they did was cut Earth off. No more trade, no more travel, nothing. Thought they could bring the humans to their knees that way." A wry grin spread across the veteran's face. "But humans are a crafty bunch. They buckled down, rolled up their sleeves and got to work. Built up their own mines, factories, farms. Hell, they even started cooking up fancy new tech we'd never seen before. Seriously, they managed all that on their own." Rax leaned forward, hanging on Tarek's every word. "Damn right they did. The Council about lost itself when they realized in just 10 short years, Earth's economy was going toe-to-toe with the biggest players in the galaxy." Tarek let out a low whistle of appreciation. His expression darkened. Of course, the Council couldn't let that stand. They assembled a blockade, parked their ships in orbit around Earth, tried to choke off the human supplies, bring them to heel. Rax's antenna quivered with anticipation. And then what? What did the humans do? Tarek smirked, a glimmer of respect in his battle-weary eyes. They broke out a new toy, something nobody had even dreamed of, a real game-changer. Leaning back, Tarek savored the suspense for a moment. An EMP cannon. One shot from that beast, and the Council's fancy ships were nothing but floating scrap metal, shields, weapons, engines, all fried in an instant. Rax gaped at Tarek, his mandibles slack. A weapon that can fry an entire fleet just like that. He snapped his fingers for emphasis. Tarek nodded, his eyes distant as he recalled the events. Those Council ships hung dead in space, not a single system still running. Shields, weapons, engines, all of it useless. He leaned forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. But the humans didn't stop there. They launched surgical strikes on the command vessels, picked them off one by one, leaving the rest of the fleet in chaos. Rax shook his head in disbelief. They crippled the whole armada with a single shot. They sure did, Tarek confirmed, a note of grudging respect in his tone. The council had no choice but to turn tail and run, but the humans weren't finished. He took a long pull from his drink, savoring the burn. Earth sent the council an ultimatum: lift the sanctions and acknowledge human sovereignty, or else. Rax's eyes widened, and the council actually listened. Tarek barked a laugh. They were still licking their wounds from the thrashing they'd received. Didn't have much choice, did they? Rax sat back, stunned. I can't believe it. A single species standing up to the council and winning. Oh, that's just the beginning, Tarek chuckled darkly. Earth's victory sent tremors across the galaxy, made other races start wondering if the council was really as tough as they claimed. He leaned in, his voice low and intense. Some even started getting ideas about breaking away from council rule altogether. Rebellions began cropping up left and right. Rax smacked the table in surprise, his drink sloshing over the rim of his glass. What? They invited the humans to join the council as equals? He stared at Tarek in disbelief, searching the old veteran's face for any hint of a joke. Tarek nodded, his expression deadly serious. I couldn't believe it either, but that's exactly what happened. He drained the last of his glowing blue drink, slamming the empty glass on the table. The council realized that the humans were a force to be reckoned with. They had technology, resources, and a spirit that couldn't be broken. So instead of fighting them, the council decided to bring them into the fold. Rax shook his head, still trying to wrap his mind around the idea. But how did the other races react? Surely they weren't happy about a newcomer being given a seat at the table, Tarek chuckled, a low, rumbling sound deep in his throat. Oh, there were plenty of objections. Some of the more established races thought the humans were getting special treatment. They argued that Earth should have to prove itself, just like everyone else. He leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with mischief. But the humans had an ace up their sleeve. Remember that grand tour they gave the council delegates? Well, it turns out that the humans had been recording everything, every conversation, every reaction, every little detail. Rax's eyes widened as realization dawned. They used the footage to sway the other races. Tarek grinned, showing a mouthful of sharp teeth. Exactly. The humans released the recordings to the Galactic media, showing the delegates glowing praise of Earth and its people. They even included some choice moments of the delegates criticizing the council's handling of the situation. He sat back, crossing his arms over his chest. It was a master stroke. The other races saw the delegates' reactions and started to question their own assumptions about the humans. Some even began to see Earth as a potential ally against the council's tyranny. Rax whistled softly, impressed by the humans' cunning. So what happened next? Did the council actually follow through on their invitation? Tarek nodded, his expression turning serious once again. They did. The humans sent a delegation of their own to the council's headquarters, ready to take their place as equals. He paused, his eyes distant as he remembered the momentous occasion. I was there, you know. I saw the human delegation arrive, striding into the council chamber like they owned the place. They were a sight to behold, all confidence and determination. You could feel the energy in the room shift as they took their seats. Rax leaned forward, hanging on Tarek's every word. And then what? Did the council actually treat them as equals? Tarek's mouth twisted into a wry smile. Not at first. Some of the other races tried to put the humans in their place, talking down to them like they were children. But the humans didn't take that lying down. He chuckled, shaking his head at the memory. They stood their ground, arguing their case with a passion and eloquence that left the other races stunned. They made it clear that they were there to stay and that they wouldn't be pushed around by anyone. Rax nodded slowly, a newfound respect for the humans growing in his chest. So that's how they did it. They didn't just win a battle, they won the whole damn war. Tarek grinned, raising his empty glass in a toast. Damn right they did. And now the galaxy will never be the same. Rax sat back in his chair, his mind reeling with the implications of Tarek's story. He had always thought of the humans as a primitive, backward species, barely worth noticing. But now he realized just how wrong he had been. The humans had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, a species with the strength, intelligence, and determination to stand up to the most powerful forces in the galaxy. And as Rax looked around the bar, seeing the other patrons watching the news feeds with a mixture of awe and fear, he knew that he was not the only one who had come to this realization. Rax stared at Tarek with bulging eyes, antennae quivering. "Hold on, the council actually invited the humans to join as equals?" He shook his head in disbelief, mandibles clicking. Tarek rumbled a chuckle deep in his scarred throat. "Yep, sure did. Shocked the hell out of everyone. But the humans earned that seat at the table, no question." He slugged back a gulp of glowing liquor, wiping his mouth with the back of a gnarled hand. The council even asked Earth to share that EMP cannon tech. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for the humans' response. Tarek's yellow eyes glinted. Plenty figured they'd tell the council to shove it where the stars don't shine, keep their edge to themselves, you know. Rax leaned forward, hanging on Tarek's every word. So what did they do? The humans? A slow grin spread across Tarek's craggy face. They agreed, on one condition. He held up a clawed finger. The council had to pass new laws, ones ensuring fair treatment for all species, great and small, no more throwing around weight and might. Tarek sat back, armor creaking. The council saw the sense in it. The humans' terms were perfectly reasonable, so they said yes, and the EMP cannon specs went out to every member world. Rax's eyes went distant, absorbing the magnitude of the decision. "A new era," he breathed, "led by the humans. I never saw that coming." "The council didn't either," Tarek snorted. "Humans kept surprising them, first with their spirit, then their smarts. Never bet against human ingenuity, kid. It'll bite you in the ass every time." Rax shook his head, a new respect dawning in his gaze. To think an upstart species from the galactic rim turning it all upside down, and after the council tried to conquer them. "Humans never did what anyone expected," Tarek said, wagging a finger. "They're contrary like that, stubborn, independent. It's what makes them so damn dangerous." His eyes bored into Rax's, driving the lesson home. The council, the Thorans, the Zorans, they all underestimated humanity, thought they could be cowed or controlled. A rumbling scoff, but the humans fought, defied, rose up and changed it all, rewrote the rules of the game. Tarek drained his glass, slamming it down. "So here's some advice from one old soldier to a young one. Never assume you've got the humans figured out. The second you do," he chuckled darkly, "that's when they'll fly in and blast your entire worldview apart and make you thank them for it after." Rax swallowed hard, nodding. The future looked very different now, with humanity ascendant. As the bar patrons cheered at images of human diplomats shaking hands with the council, Rax wondered what other shocks were in store. Because if there was one thing he had learned, the universe belonged to the humans now, and it was never going to be the same. Rax scratched his chin, mulling over Tarek's words. He frowned, leaning back in his chair. "So let me get this straight. These free worlds types, they didn't much care for the humans muscling in on their turf, huh? Thought Earth was going to cramp their style." Tarek nodded, signaling the bartender for another round. "Got it in one, kid. See, before the humans came along, the rebel worlds were the biggest thorns in the council's side. They liked being the only game in town when it came to thumbing their nose at the big boys." The veteran's eyes glinted as he continued. "But suddenly, here come these upstarts, not only standing up to the council, but actually joining forces with them. The free world's crowd, they saw the writing on the wall. Figured they'd better band together, present a united front before the humans and the Council decided to pacify their little rebellion. Rax drummed his fingers on the table, piecing it together. And that's how the Free Worlds Alliance was born? As a way to push back against human and Council influence? Now you're getting it, Tarek chuckled. The Alliance, they started rallying their forces, gearing up for a fight. Wasn't just a ragtag bunch of malcontents anymore. They were a real, honest-to-stars military power, spoiling to take on the Council and knock humanity down a peg. Tarek leaned forward conspiratorially. Council higher-ups were sweating bullets, let me tell you. They just put out one fire with the humans, and now here was another one sparking up. So they turned to their new buddies from Earth, hoping they could pull another rabbit out of their hat. Rax's antenna quivered with anticipation. And what did the humans do? Don't leave me hanging, old-timer. A slow grin spread across Tarek's craggy features. Oh, they got creative, all right. See, the Council, they were all set to go in guns blazing, teach the Alliance a lesson. But the humans, they had a different approach in mind. The veteran snorted, shaking his head. Damnedest thing I ever saw. Instead of mobilizing the fleet and charging in, they invited the Alliance to the table, offered to break bread, hash things out all civilized-like. Rax's mandibles dropped open in shock. They wanted to negotiate with a bunch of armed rebels. Were they insane? Tarek threw his head back and laughed. Ha! That's what the Council thought too. But the humans, they had a plan. See, they offered to share some of their tech with the Alliance worlds, help them boost their economies, raise their standard of living. All they asked in return was that the rebels agree to play by the same rules as everyone else. The veteran took a swig of his drink, eyeing Rax over the rim of the glass. Damn clever move, if you ask me. The humans were betting that the Alliance worlds, deep down, just wanted a fair shake, a chance to stand on their own 2 feet without the Council breathing down their necks. Rax's eyes widened as realization dawned. And it worked, didn't it? The Free Worlds, they went for it. Tarek smirked, setting his glass down with a thunk. Most of them, yeah. The humans guessed right. A lot of those worlds, they were just tired of scraping by on the galactic fringe. The offer of a helping hand, a seat at the table. Too good to pass up. The old soldier shrugged. Oh, sure, there were a few diehards who refused to deal, but without the rest of the Alliance backing their play, they folded pretty quick. The humans had done it again, taken a powder keg situation and diffused it without firing a shot. Rax shook his head in wonder, trying to wrap his mind around it all. The humans' approach was so alien, so utterly contrary to the way the galaxy usually worked, but he couldn't deny the results. Tarek watched the young soldier, a knowing glint in his eye. See, kid, that's the thing about humans. They never do what you expect. They're always looking for another angle, a better way forward, and 9 times out of 10, they find it. The veteran raised his glass in a silent toast. The Council, the Alliance, the whole damn galaxy. We could learn a thing or two from those crazy Terrans. They've got a knack for turning enemies into allies, for finding common ground where no one else even thought to look. Rax nodded slowly, absorbing the weight of Tarek's words. He'd always thought of humans as just another species, one among many. But now he was starting to see them in a whole new light. They weren't conquerors or tyrants seeking to dominate through force of arms. They were something else entirely, a force for change, for progress, for a better way of doing things. And the galaxy, it seemed, would never be the same because of it. As the 2 soldiers sat in silence, contemplating the future, the bar's hollow screens flickered with images of human diplomats shaking hands with Alliance leaders, ushering in a new era of cooperation and prosperity. Rax frowned, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. The Draconis joined up just like that, after attacking a human colony. He shook his head, antenna twitching. Doesn't seem right. Figured they'd put up more of a fight. Tarek chuckled, the sound like gravel in his throat. Oh, they wanted to, believe me. Their warlord was spitting mad, ready to throw down. But the humans had them by the short hairs, and they knew it. Leaning forward, Tarek lowered his voice. See, when that surprise attack failed, the Draconis realized they were in deep. The humans' new shields turned their weapons into scrap, and that was just one colony. The veteran took a swig, wiping his mouth. If the humans shared that tech with the Council, the Draconis would be neutered, claws clipped and teeth pulled. They'd be a joke. Rax nodded slowly. So they swallowed their pride and played ball, joined the Galactic community to save their own scaly hides. Got it in one, kid, Tarek said. The Draconis are a ruthless bunch, but they ain't stupid. They know when they're beaten. The old soldier grinned. Of course, it wasn't all sunshine and roses after that. Integrating the Draconis was a pain and a half. Centuries of living by the sword made 'em ornery as hell. Rax tilted his head. How'd the humans handle that? Must have been like herding Rick's cats. Tarek laughed, slapping the table. They started at the top, invited the Draconis leadership to Earth for a series of cultural exchanges, showed them the sights, wined and dined them, the whole 9 yards. Leaning back, Tarek shook his head. But the real masterstroke, the humans brought in their historians, had 'em give the Draconis a crash course in human history. All the wars, the atrocities, the cycles of violence and oppression. Rax blinked. They showed the Draconis their dark side. Why? Tarek smirked. To prove they understood. To show the Draconis that humans knew damn well how hard it was to break free from a brutal past, that they weren't judging, just offering a helping hand. Damn, Rax breathed. That's genius. Must have been humbling for the Draconis leadership to see they weren't so different after all. Exactly, Tarek said. It opened their eyes, made them realize that if the humans could change, could build something better, then maybe the Draconis could too. The veteran's gaze turned distant. It wasn't easy. There was plenty of pushback from the hardliners, but bit by bit, the Draconis started to come around, started to see the value in cooperation, in setting aside old grudges. Rax leaned forward, captivated. And now, how are they doing? A slow smile spread across Tarek's craggy face. They're some of the Council's staunchest allies. Oh, they're still fierce as hell. You don't want to mess with a Draconis warrior. But now they fight for something greater than just their own glory. The old soldier raised his glass in salute. The humans gave them that, a purpose beyond themselves, a chance to be part of something bigger. He chuckled softly. Guess that's just what humans do. They change you, whether you like it or not. Rax sat back, mind reeling. The Draconis transformed from fearsome conquerors to stalwart defenders of galactic peace, all because of the humans and their unshakable belief in a better way. It was a lot to wrap his head around. But as Rax looked at Tarek, saw the respect and admiration shining in the veteran's eyes, he started to understand. The humans were more than just another species. They were a force of nature, a catalyst for change on a galactic scale. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what the universe needed. Tarek drained his glass, setting it down with a thunk. Of course, not everyone was thrilled about the Draconis joining the Council. Some folks had long memories, held onto their grudges like prized possessions. Rax's head and antenna quivered. Let me guess, the Zorans, they never did get along with the Draconis. A wry chuckle escaped Tarek's throat. Got it in one, kid. The Zorans pitched a fit when they heard the news, threatened to pull out of the Council entirely. Leaning forward, Tarek lowered his voice conspiratorially. They even sent a delegation to Earth, demanding the humans renege on their deal with the Draconis, claimed it was a betrayal of the Council's principles. Rax's eyes widened. They tried to strong-arm the humans. That's ballsy, even for the Zorans. Tarek grinned, his teeth flashing in the dim light of the bar. Oh, they tried, But the humans weren't having it. They politely but firmly told the Zorans to pound sand, said that the Draconis had earned their place on the council fair and square. Shaking his head, Tarek took another swig of his drink. The Zorans were livid. They stormed out of the meeting, vowing revenge. Everyone thought that was the end of it. A mischievous glint entered the old soldier's eye. But the humans, they had a plan. They always do. Rax leaned in, hanging on Tarek's every word. What did they do? Tarek smirked. They invited the Zoran leadership to a summit, along with the Draconis and the Thorons, the Bixens, and every other species that had a beef with each other. Rax's mandibles dropped open. They got them all in the same room without bloodshed. How? By appealing to their egos, Tarek said, tapping the side of his head. The humans told them it was a chance to air their grievances, to hash things out like civilized beings, and that if they couldn't, well, maybe they weren't ready for the galactic stage after all. Understanding dawned in Rax's eyes. They challenged them, made it a matter of pride. Tarek nodded, satisfied. Exactly, and it worked like a charm. Oh, there was plenty of posturing and chest-thumping at first, but the humans, they just sat back and let them go at it, let them get it all out of their systems. Leaning back, Tarek crossed his arms. And then, when they were all tuckered out, the humans stepped in. They started talking about the future, about the challenges the galaxy faced, and how we'd all have to work together to overcome them. Rax shook his head in wonder. They appealed to their better natures, made them see the bigger picture. Bingo, Tarek said. The humans have a way of doing that, of getting folks to look beyond their own petty squabbles and see the common good. He sighed, his expression turning contemplative. It wasn't a quick fix, mind you. There was still plenty of bad blood to work through. But that summit, it was a start, a first step on the long road to reconciliation. Rax nodded, absorbing the weight of Tarek's words. And now, how are things between the species? A slow smile spread across Tarek's face. Better than they've ever been. Oh, sure, there are still flare-ups from time to time. Old habits die hard, after all. But on the whole, the galaxy is a more peaceful place these days. He raised his glass in a silent toast. And we have the humans to thank for it. Their stubborn refusal to let us wallow in our own pettiness. Their unwavering belief that we can be better, do better, if we just try. Rax sat back in his chair, his mind buzzing with new ideas and possibilities. He had always thought of the Council as this monolithic entity, unchanging and unassailable. But now he could see that it's so much more than that. It's a living, breathing thing, constantly evolving and growing, just like the galaxy itself. And at the heart of it all, the guiding force behind everything are the ideals and values that the humans left behind. Their belief in equality, in fairness, in the power of cooperation. Rax looked up at Tarek, a new respect shining in his eyes. I never realized, he said softly. I never knew how much the humans had changed things, even after they were gone. Tarek nodded, a gentle smile on his face. That's the thing about legacy, kid. It's not always something you can see or touch, but it's there, shaping everything around us, even if we don't always realize it. He reached out and clapped Rax on the shoulder, his grip firm and reassuring. And that's why it's so important for folks like you and me to remember, to carry on the humans' legacy in whatever way we can, to keep fighting for a better galaxy, a more just and peaceful galaxy, no matter what. Rax nodded, feeling a new sense of purpose welling up inside him. He may just be one small soldier, one tiny cog in the vast machinery of the galaxy, but he knew now that he had a part to play, a role to fulfill in the great unfolding story of the universe. And with the humans' example to guide him, with their spirit, their courage, and their unshakable belief in a better tomorrow, he knew that he could face whatever challenges lay ahead, that he could be a force for change, for progress, for hope, just like the humans were. And just like the galaxy itself, forever changed by their presence, forever striving towards a brighter future, one step at a time. Rax leaned forward, his eyes shining with a new fire. "Tell me more," he said eagerly. "Tell me everything you know about the humans' legacy. I want to learn. I want to understand." Tarek grinned, settling back in his chair and signaling for another round of drinks. "All right, kid, strap in. This is going to be a long night." And as the two soldiers sat there in the dimly lit bar, swapping stories and memories and dreams for the future, the galaxy spun on around them, a vast and wondrous tapestry woven from the countless threads of history and hope, a galaxy forever changed by the humans and forever grateful for the gifts they left behind. Rax leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You know, it's funny. I always thought the humans were just another species, no different from the rest of us. But now I see that they were something special, something unique." Tarek nodded, a hint of sadness in his eyes. They were, and that's why their loss was so tragic. Rax's antennae twitched with surprise. "Their loss? What do you mean?" Tarek sighed, his gaze distant. "A few centuries after the humans left the galactic stage, a great calamity befell their homeworld." Rax sat forward, antennae quivering. "What happened?" Tarek took a deep breath. "A massive asteroid, undetected by their early warning systems, struck the Earth with devastating force. The impact triggered a global cataclysm, wiping out most of the human population and rendering the planet uninhabitable." Rax's eyes widened in shock, his mandibles slack. "That's terrible. Did anyone survive?" Tarek shook his head grimly. "A few scattered colonies, perhaps, but they were cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Their technology and resources were limited. Over time, they dwindled and disappeared until the humans were nothing more than a memory." Rax slumped back in his seat, his carapace suddenly feeling heavy. "I can't believe it. They're really gone? All of them?" "As far as we know," Tarek said softly. "When the Council learned of the humans' fate, they were devastated. They mourned the loss of their greatest allies and friends, and vowed to honor their memory by upholding the principles they had fought so hard to establish." Tarek looked up at Rax, his expression serious. "And that's why we're here today, my young friend. To remember the humans, to celebrate their achievements, and to ensure that their legacy endures, even in their absence." Rax nodded, a lump forming in his throat. "I understand now. The humans may be gone, but their spirit lives on in us, in the galaxy they helped to shape." Tarek smiled, a hint of pride in his voice. "Indeed it does. And as long as we remember them, as long as we strive to be the best versions of ourselves, the humans will never truly be gone. They will live on in our hearts and in our minds forever." With that, Tarek raised his glass in a final toast. "To the humans, the greatest species the galaxy has ever known. May their memory endure, and may their legacy inspire us for generations to come." Rax raised his own glass, joining in the toast. "To the humans," he echoed, his voice filled with reverence and respect. The two aliens clinked glasses, the sound ringing out in the dimly lit bar around them. The space station bustled with life, a microcosm of the thriving galactic community the humans helped build. But even amidst the chatter and laughter, Rax could feel the weight of Tarek's words, the bittersweet truth of the humans' fate. It was a heavy burden, knowing that the species he admired most was gone forever. And yet, as he looked around at the vibrant tapestry of alien life, at the bonds of friendship and cooperation that tied the galaxy together, Rax couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. The humans may be gone, but their spirit endures, a guiding light for all who come after. It's a legacy worth fighting for, Rax realized, a legacy of courage, compassion, and unyielding belief in a better tomorrow. And as long as there are those who remember, who carry the flame of human idealism in their hearts, that legacy will never fade. Rax set down his glass, a new sense of purpose kindling in his chest. He looked up at Tarak, his eyes alight with determination. If you finish this story, please subscribe and like the video, then leave a comment that says, "I like the story," and I will heart every single one of them. It really helps me. Thank you for your time.